ready when you are.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. I call this February 6, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Charbonneau, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, could you please take a roll call?
Roll call for tonight's meeting. Hornstead.
Present.
Charbonneau.
Here.
Ullman.
Here.
Zerhe.
Here.
And Chair Sullivan.
Here.
Okay, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to citizens' comments. And what it is, we have citizens' comments at any subject except those items for public hearing, but we have no public hearing today. So do we have anybody signed in to talk?
I don't believe so, but it was good to double check.
Yes. If we do, time is limited to 3 minutes per speaker and 36 minutes total for this agenda item.
Nobody is signed in to speak, Chair Sullivan.
Okay, well, thank you. And we will go ahead and move on. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak at all? Nope? Okay. All right, we'll move on to item 5. It's the approval of the agenda and consent agenda. I will need a motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay. Mr. Clerk, can we have a roll call for the vote on the agenda, please?
Voting on the approval of tonight's agenda, consent agenda. Zerhe.
Yes.
Charbonneau.
Yes.
Hornstead.
Yes.
Ullman.
Yes.
And Chair Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, your agenda and consent agenda have been approved, and included on the consent agenda was the approval of the January 9th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, the next one is item 6, is special orders and presentations and reports, and we don't have any awards or proclamations, but we do have next is the city administration report. And I will turn it over to Acting Community Development Director, Courtney Bringhurst.
Well, it's been business as normal for the most part. Nothing new or exciting too much at the office, but we have kind of changed around the office a bit. Some of you got to see the changes there. So we're still in the same location, just the door to the office has switched. So you'll have to come stop by and see the changes. But our director, Danny, will be starting on Monday, so you'll get to see and meet him at our next meeting.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, anything else? No?
Nope,
We're good?
sorry.
Okay, sorry about that, all right. Okay, then I'll move on to, well, item 7 is consent agenda, and we've already approved the meetings for the January 9th, 2024, and that's found on page 3 of your packet. And the next one is public hearings, but we have no public hearings for today, so we'll move directly on to unfinished business. We have one item for consideration that we postponed from the January 9th meeting, and that is Resolution 2024-004. Mr. Clerk, would you please read the title into the record?
Certainly. Resolution 2024-004 of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Seward, Alaska, granting a conditional use permit to Resurrection Bay Investments, LLC, to implement a planned unit development, including the development of streets, utilities, dwellings, and residential docks on lots 1 through 11 and tracts B through D, Mount Alice Estates Planned Unit Development Phase 1 within a multi-family residential R3 zoning district. This resolution is already on the floor from last time, and you can pick up where you left off during the commissioner discussion.
Okay, well then it looks like at this point I'll move on. It says I'll need a motion and a second for this.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-004.
Okay.
I'll second.
All righty. Okay, commissioners, do we have any discussion?
Yes. At this point, I'd like to make a motion to replace resolution 2024-004 with the substitute resolution from the packet laid down of also 2024-004.
Okay, I will need a second to that, please.
I'll second.
Okay. And with that, okay, I will go ahead and open it for discussion for the substitute resolution. for our commissioners to have?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend section 11, number 11, on page, page numbers.
I think that is D.
Yes.
There we go. Let me just double check here for you. That is correction. That is F.
Yeah, under section F, number 11, I'd like to change the wording in there, so it will read, all street lights must provide direct downward illumination.
And that will be replacing the fully shielded.
Correct.
Okay, commissioners, have any other discussion or concerns of that one?
See no problems with that?
Was there a second for that motion?
Thank you. Yes, okay,
I'll second that.
great. All right, commissioners, with any concerns or any other of the, on the substitute agenda or the substitute resolution, do you have any items to discuss further as well? We'll vote on that in just a second. Nope. Okay, well, what I'll do is move on with the proposed amendment to the substitute resolution. I guess we would like to vote on that amendment.
Okay, and I will read it into the record and make sure I get this right. So the amendment on the floor for the substitute resolution is for section F, number 11. Instead of saying all street lighting must be fully shielded, it will read, all street lighting must provide direct downward illumination.
Correct.
Okay, and we're ready to vote on this amendment?
I believe so.
Okay, calling for a vote. Alman,
Yes.
Charbonneau,
Yes.
Hornseth,
Yes.
Fairhay,
Yes.
and Chair Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, that amendment has been approved, and the main motion as amended is back on the floor.
Okay. Commissioners, do we have any other?
Chair Sullivan,
Yes.
I believe it's appropriate now. I would like to make a motion to postpone Resolution 2024-004 until we can have a work session on March 19th to further discuss plan unit developments and how they should be incorporated within city code.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, for discussion?
So you
Since
want
you
to
made the- Oh, I was about to say, since you made the motion, could you give me a little bit further?
Sure, yeah. This is the first plan unit development proposal in Seward. We've covered that. Seward City Code has very little information regarding plan unit developments. Before approving a conditional use permit with a plan unit development attached to it, I think it's important to thoroughly incorporate plan unit developments into City Code. A separate section for plan unit developments that covers application requirements and other important elements. Plan unit development seems to be the only path forward for this development application due to water and sewage circumstances. Plan unit development is the way to make this development possible, and plan unit development could be a viable path for other developments in the future. This application has created a good opportunity for Seward, a new option for development, but I feel it's important to be in front of it with a structure in city code. I do apologize to the applicant for not noticing sooner the need for our city code to address plan unit developments. The progression of all of our constructive discussions has led me to it. Also, upon the approval of the replat and rezone, the applicant did mention something to the effect of those were the pieces needed to move forward. So like hopefully this project can move forward while we work to address plan unit developments in city code.
Great.
Thank you.
Commissioner Holman. Other commissioners, do you have additional comments, concerns, amendments?
So, Commissioner Ullman,
Yes.
you're basically, so the two work sessions we had originally to hash out what we have already come up with. So you're basically saying that that's okay, but you want to finalize everything in code before we move forward on this specific thing.
Yeah, the work session I'm proposing, I don't think we would talk much about this particular development. We would talk about plan unit development, general and specifically for Seward. You know, like get that down, and it might be very simple, it might be very complex, but there's just almost nothing in city code regarding plan unit development because we don't have any. But here's now a precedent where we will have one. So I think it's important to have code written up regarding plan unit development before we approve anything with plan unit development. I like what we put together here as a team, the applicant included. I just think, yeah, we need the plan unit development in code, you know.
You don't mind, go ahead.
So you basically need the horse before the cart.
I guess so. We use these, you know, cliches, but yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Commissioners?
I would agree, it does seem like a good opportunity to add to our code something about it if this, you know, is right now starting and may come up more frequently. So then we have very limited guidelines for it at this point, so kind of feels like an opportunity.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Are we just tabling, the idea is just tabling this for like a couple sessions then? Or do we, just one session, one work session, or?
I'd have to ask the clerk what that would be. If the decision is made to postpone this, because this is what he's doing this, well, that will just push that back to the next, you're saying the next work session, at least to that, to discuss further?
Yeah, I suggested March 19th in my motion. I believe there's something planned for February, so that would put this back, or the April meeting, right?
No, the March 19th would be the earliest we could discuss it.
So we discussed planning development, as I'm suggesting, at that March 19th, but
yeah,
then this
sorry.
could be back on April, the regular meeting to vote on.
Correct.
I would also add, as you brought this up, like Danny, forgive me, I don't know his last name, but him starting Monday, I think that's an opportunity here too. It's kind of a big deal with planning development. He could be involved on that discussion as well.
I have just one thing to consider for that is, could this be a parallel effort where you still have the plan unit development, you know, discussion in code and the rest? Because as you were saying, Commissioner Ullman, that you were happy with what this substitute resolution is providing. Could this continue to move forward, but what the kind of things that we were putting in this would be also incorporated into code, so we wouldn't be delaying the forward momentum of the project?
I'm not under the impression, and you know, this is just my impression, that we are delaying it from the applicant's comment that, you know, they had the two pieces, as I said, with the replat and the rezone. We can move forward. That's what we needed. This wasn't as urgent. No, we're not hearing that now. I do like this, as I did say, but I do think that a really productive discussion and all the work that we put in to come to these meetings for that discussion we'll have on the 19th, I mean, we're going to learn. There could be new things. So I would want a chance to, you know, amend this after we've done that heavy lifting to get the planning development language and code.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that does make sense.
Good question.
Okay.
I would like to ask administration a question. So if we table this now, and on the next free work session, the next time we can bring a work session on it, approximately how long would it be to come up with a code change, then get that to council, then get that approved at council? What time frame are we looking at for it to actually come back?
Right, so, I mean, I guess it depends on our discussion on the 19th, what our findings end up being about planning and developments in general, and what the commission feels would be the requirements that you want to put in code. If the requirements you want to put in code are very similar to the requirements we put in the CUP, and maybe we add a few more by amendment, I think, you know, we could come back to this resolution at the April meeting or the May meeting with this same resolution, make a few amendments, depending on our findings, and approve it before needing to put it into code.
Code takes some while.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would hope that we could do kind of like a parallel sort of process where we do put it on this resolution on hold for a little bit to discuss PUDs in general, and develop code language, but then go ahead and approve this resolution so they can move forward on their project. At the same time that we're moving to approve the language to code, which will take a little bit longer since it needs to go through city council.
So the earliest that, if we do go this way, the earliest that council would get a hold of it is their May meeting.
Yeah, most,
Maybe.
Or maybe
that city,
June.
yeah, I think the earliest, if we discussed PUD language on March 19th, it would need a public hearing for the commission. So we probably wouldn't see it till our May meeting, and then that would mean city council wouldn't see it till at least the end of May or the beginning of June.
And if I may, in council, it's kind of a two-step process. The ordinance is introduced, and then it's up for enactment at the next meeting. So you're looking at
Right.
basically a month in council alone.
Well, I agree with Commissioner Ullman that we do need to deal with this particular issue in code, because I suspect and hope that more of these will come across our table, and we need to be ready for them so that not only do we cover all of our bases, but we make it easier for the applicant to just look through, boom, here's what code says, I can do that. And we don't have to really just keep hashing out every single one. I'm kind of concerned about the timeline. I wish the applicant was here to see if that would work for them. I was under the impression they wanted to get going in the summertime on this. And if it doesn't get done till into June, early July, I'm wondering if that's going to push them back or anything. I like the way this is done so far. I think we had two work sessions on it. We had meetings with city administrations from various areas. I'm almost inclined to pass this one and model code after this one. I know it's not really the right way to go, but I'm concerned about the timeline.
I would be, that's why I was suggested the parallel on that. But the only thing, my thing is that unless there is something we have dislike in this, I don't know, but I think we've hashed it out pretty well. I guess it's again, I wish I knew where what the applicant's view on something like that would be. So personally, I like the parallel stuff because we have agreed to this at this point in time. I mean, this is not passed yet, clearly. So we're looking at the substitute resolution with the amendments, and then we'll possibly considering postponing it as well. I don't know. I don't have a world, because I like the putting stuff in code, absolutely, because that's an absolute, because then we wouldn't be dancing around with all these things here, making substitute resolutions if we had things firmly in code. But Commissioner Ullman, do you think is there anything in this one, the substitute with the amendments, the recent amendment that we've just made, that you'd find, is there anything in there lacking, or do you think that, because I'm trying to get a win-win out of this somehow.
I hear you. No, this is good discussion. I don't know. I mean, you guys have more experience than me. I like the parallel idea to try to pursue both, and I wonder if, go forward March 19th and then April, vote on this with some changes from the productive March 19th, and I realized the code wouldn't be set for some months. Could you kind of pass it then in the April meeting to, with the written in there that forthcoming code that was decided on this will be in there? And then to Commissioner Charbonneau, I wouldn't want to model code on this one. I believe you had said that this plan is vague. you know?
True.
So if we go with a vague plan, you know, it's like, and the applicant said it's just a road. You know, we don't want to model our plan unit development on just a road.
Correct.
Sorry, say my 2 cents.
Just to provide comment to your comments there, Commissioner Ullman. My understanding, since this application was submitted under our current code, I think even if we did code changes and had language for PUDs codified, that this would still need to go through the process that it started under. However, like you stated, Commissioner Ullman, if we postponed it, having discussion on March 19th could impact then amendments that are made to this current resolution under the CUP process at the April meeting when it comes back to the board.
So we could get it passed at that April meeting, we're confident of that.
Yeah, it wouldn't need to wait till language is codified.
Good.
I would agree with that, you know, because I think the concern would be is you wouldn't want to wait to make code changes when they submitted it under the original code. They'd probably see that as a, you know, punitive or a penalty in some respects. So,
Well, having code set in place first is always best. And so, kind of inclined to just push it off till the code is set, but at the same time, I don't want to step in the way of something that is, you know, a good idea. But I want to make sure things get done correctly. So, I'm not opposed to doing the 2-lane where we have a work session, we look at the works of what we want to put into code. We amend this to match it, and both of them go forward. If that's what what Ullman was proposing, or I think you were also proposing, if I got that correct.
well, my thing is right now is, yeah, because we can put on the you know, in the CUP, anything that we need to that we think is going to meet the comprehensive plan and serve the needs of Seward. So I just want to be sure that we don't use this as a, I guess, the example to try to figure out how best we employ code, because we come up with things now and then we impose that stuff as part of the CUP that we'll later put on in code.
True.
You know, I worry about the, you know, the perception that we're delaying it just to be sure that we can, you know, dot all the i's, cross the t's, above and beyond, you know, because we're trying to do plan unit developments.
So then the best thing to do is just postpone and get code right.
I wouldn't postpone this, because, again, my concern is the applicant will see that we're postponing it just to refine our code.
Okay.
That's my concern. I don't know if you see that as a concern. They went in good faith under the existing code. We've come up with things, had discussions with them and the rest, and this, you know, 2 work sessions, and now we're at the, you know, the resolution with a substitute, with incorporating those discussions during the work sessions, that, again, in good faith, they worked on them, and at this point in time, this will go forward. Whether they agree with them or not, I don't know. They can appeal it to the council if they don't like them. But I just think that postponing that too much, I mean, I don't mind another work session of some sort, you know, if the commission feels that strongly about it, but I don't want it to go so far that it does not come across as we're being fair.
That's true, and this was started under our code that is right now, and they've adhered to it.
They adhere to it, and I firmly believe that we certainly need to have code, because nobody did a plan unit development before, and I think it's awesome that we need to put that and put it in chapter 16 or wherever the subdivisions are and get that going. So it makes life very easy for everybody. So when they do a plan unit development, that stuff will already be in code, and that we wouldn't be hashing this out like this we are now.
That's good points, Chair Sullivan. So with that scenario, so this applicant, you know, would do new code, this applicant has the old code,
Yeah.
and then everyone else doing plan development would have to follow the new code. But that's the way, yeah.
That's sort of how I look at it, and, you know,
Yeah.
Mr. Clerk, does that sound correct? I mean, you follow under the existing code. I mean, everybody has code and you follow that, but if new code happens, there's no time frame of, you know, grandfathering or something for, you know, if somebody's got something going, if it's, once it's the certified or approved through the council, that's it.
Well, that's an interesting question, and you're kind of in uncharted waters here. This is
I
a
know.
tricky situation, but I think you raised a good point that it almost wouldn't seem fair if they applied under one set of rules and then it was postponed until the rules could be changed. You could see how that would be perceived as being treated unfairly. But I'd have to look into the exact
Yeah.
rules of that. Might be a question for the city attorney.
Yeah.
Continuing thinking about it, I feel that since this was created under the code we have now, and we did a very good job at getting it where it is with multiple work sessions and multiple input from various people, a lot of input, and I do want to be fair. I kind of lean towards going ahead with this right now and scheduling as soon as possible a look into our code for any additional one that comes up later. That way we're not punishing this applicant, but we're also getting ourselves ready for hopefully more of these to make it easier for us and the applicants.
Commissioners, any thoughts?
I do have to agree that it seems like the best plan at this point is to do the planned unit development work session on the 19th and get back to this substitute resolution.
And just a reminder, that is the motion currently on the floor is to postpone.
Right, we'll have to fail
After
that and then, yeah.
The March 19th work session, which would be, what, April 2nd regular meeting? That would be the next regular meeting after that work session.
Okay. Commissioner Horns, have any thoughts?
Yeah, in light of discussion, I don't see why we would postpone this. It makes sense in this case to put the cart before the horse, I guess. Seems to make the most sense, especially because, as we've talked about, this is only a small portion of a planned unit development. Like, kind of makes sense that, yeah, it's not going to cover everything, but if we're happy with it and we've hashed it out.
And this is a phase one, I think, because they have a lot of land out there. Then if there's subsequent ones, I would think that those coming forward would have to be, with the code change, would have to adopt to that. So, okay.
That's correct, right? Okay.
Moving forward. So, we are at the resolution right now, Mr. Clerk, with the postponement. Unless anybody, before I speak too quickly, is there everybody, anything else, any commissioners like to say? So this motion, or this resolution that we're voting on is the postponement, and then we'll back up to the substitute resolution to vote on that one. Does that make sense?
It depends on which way the vote to postpone goes.
Okay, yeah, but if that's
If
the
that
case,
passes,
yeah,
then
if
that's
that
the
passes,
end of it.
it's not, doesn't make point
If
yet.
the vote to postpone fails, then the substitute resolution as amended is back on the floor.
Got it. Okay.
If I may, before we vote, can I ask another
Sure.
question? Is there additional reason beyond just what you stated before to postpone?
Beyond not having any planning development in code?
Yes, sorry, yes.
This application in the three parts, it's all felt fast to me. And so there's that, my initiation into this seat, a theme was slow, slow. We check over stuff one at a time, comes back. So the pace is the other thing for me.
Yeah.
But, Claire, Chair Sullivan, you make a good point. And I'm thankful for this discussion about, they applied to this code as it is, and we worked hard on it. that's certainly on my mind now too.
I think we will still also be able to move forward with the things that we want to accomplish, because one isn't contingent upon the other. If we move direction on one, we can go forward with one, and still with the city code or for the plan unit development, we're not stopping. That'll continue to move forward as well. So
I just wish the applicant, because if we knew about their pace,
it would make,
we have time, because my concern is we don't postpone and it's voted in, and then on that 19th, we find new things from a lot of work, and it's like, ooh, because I guess you can't make changes at that point. But if they're to this code,
yeah, sort of,
right.
yeah. Okay. Is everybody ready to vote at least for the postponement resolution? Or the motion to postpone this, yeah.
Okay. Voting on the motion to postpone this resolution until March 19th work session can be had, and then it would be brought back at the April meeting on April 2nd. Verhey,
No.
Charbonneau,
No.
Alman,
No.
Fornseth,
No.
and Chair Sullivan.
No.
Okay, that motion has failed, and the substitute resolution as amended is back on the floor.
Okay. Commissioners, do we have any other discussion that we'd like on the substitute other than the one amendment that we've approved that Commissioner Charbonneau has made with the lighting? Let's call for the vote.
Okay, voting on the final approval of a substitute resolution 2024-004 as amended. Hornseth,
Yes.
Alman,
Yes.
Verhey,
Yes.
Charbonneau,
Yes.
and Chair Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution has been approved.
Okay, then I will move on to new business. I think that's where I'm at. We have no new business at this point, and we also will now, on other new business, we have to discuss the work session topic for February 20th. And do we have any, now that we've had all these other discussions, do we have anything else to add to it?
Well, on February 20th, the work session will be a shorter one. It'll go from 6 to 7. We'll have an additional meeting after that. So we were thinking about doing the comprehensive plan update. Simply, it's not doing the huge update, but just going through the comprehensive plan and moving the things that have been completed into our completed section of the comprehensive plan. So I think that should only take about an hour. And then I guess we can maybe mention then March 19th, kind of put that on our radar now. Do we want to do the plan unit development discussion then? Or?
I think, commissioners, if you have any thoughts on that, I think moving forward with that would be good.
Okay.
I think it's an important issue that needs to get ironed out.
I think it will also give you time, because when we do the comprehensive plan updates, you may not want to have them right after that other one, because so then we can skip over to make sure, give you time to update those changes that we've made in that work session, so we can look at those again.
Right. Okay.
Also, too, on what day was that? The February 20th, the work session we're going to be having at 7:30. We'll be having an appeal hearing for Bear's Den Alaska Lodging. Okay, just want to put that on the calendar. That's why it's only a short work session. Okay, anybody have any questions about the work session at this point? Okay. Then I'll go on to informational items and reports. And again, for that is just our February 20th work session, so we'll be good to go for there. The appeal hearing is also on the 20th. And our next regular meeting will be March 5th at 7 p.m. Okay. And move on to citizens' comments. Okay, I don't think we have any citizens' comments? Okay. All right, and then we'll move on to board and administration comments, and what I will do here is, Courtney, I'll start out with you.
And thank you for all your work and dedication and being willing to ask hard questions. I think it makes for a better product in the end.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing. Okay, and I will go for each one of our commissioners. Commissioner Hornseth.
Yeah, I'd like to say the same thing. Thanks for working hard on this resolution, especially, I know I missed the last session. It looked like, I watched the YouTube, it was a marathon session, it looked like. So, but I think you guys got a lot of good input, and, yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Hay.
No comment.
Ellen? Commissioner Holman.
Yeah, I would just say thank you to my Commissioner, Chair Sullivan, and Commissioner team, and Courtney. I think we have great discussions. I know the work session is more of the environment for it, but I just appreciate everybody coming in with an open mind, and yeah, I think we're building.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Commissioner Charbonneau. Thank you. Yeah, okay. I'd like to thank everybody for their hard work, because none of this is easy, because on a plate, when you're making decisions about people's efforts, their work, a lot of times you're not going to make people happy, though. Keeping things in the foremost of their mind is what's ultimately best for the community and what is going to benefit the individual. So it's a balancing, it certainly is a balancing act. I appreciate all that the Community Development Office has been doing and putting up with, putting all the changes that we've been making. It's a learning experience for all of us here with all these subdivisions and the different changes. We've been breaking some new territory, I think. And I really want to thank the clerk's office as well. All the odd questions that you get from probably, I know from me, and I'm sure from a few of the other commissioners, as to how things are run. Your patience and your tutelage is very, very appreciated.
My pleasure.
Thank you, thank you. Alrighty, well, if that's it, then I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 7:37.